Michael, is that I was waiting for you to
Except.
yes, to accept. So I need to get myself organized here. Well, happy Thanksgiving.
Likewise.
Guess why I'm late?
Mm,
I had another
dog, a cat, a
no,
horse. Doubt
no,
it's Kip, but
yeah, no, but Kip is here, so it's not the dogs today. And I'm having issues here. So who knows what that
well,
means.
do tell. Why are you late?
Oh, just that I had another idea.
Oh, well,
Yeah. So um
ideas are flowing.
they sure are. Yeah. Well, I was thinking that really bottom line is I'm grateful that we're still doing the show. And really for I was thinking as I'm sharing the new secret program with tons of people, by the way. I'm like, oh, I could send it to this person and this person and this person. And then I was just saying to Kip, I'm like, I need to be more Elon-ish, more open source-ish. Like have that be a guiding principle.
Mm,
So really all we need is for you to get on board.
yeah, I'm the one holding it up.
Yes, get on the train, yo.
Well, I, uh, I said yesterday, let someone else drive the train. I'll just drag along behind or something. No, I think it's a good train.
Yeah, I think it's good too. And I have a good name for it, which says all the things. So we'll just wait for until next week maybe to say it. Um anyway, yeah, I'm super excited. And it's dark and rainy here. You said you had snow.
Yeah, we got snow yesterday.
Uh-huh. I think so. Kip
It,
was looking at this weather guy and he said, like, you guys are gonna have Kip, did you say 75 inches of snow or something?
yeah, it's supposed to be a snowy winter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a very warm fall, but nothing to make it feel like, ah, crap, winter's here, like having to clear snow. It's like, all right, there goes an hour of my life every time it snows, or more, depending on, can be lots of hours depending on the volume. But, and then you're just trudging through it, and everything's more difficult. And right now it's cold and windy.
Oh man.
Kind of being a complainer right now, but it's just shocking the first
Yeah, yeah,
little bit of it. And then you're just like, well, it is what it is, and you adjust. But
yeah.
so
Yeah.
I put Heidi out in a pasture because I kind of feel like, I mean, still around the feeder, she's going to be in a little bit of mud, but it'd be less muddy than in the dry lot where I've had her because I don't want her in a stall.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to come up with a way to wrap her foot that will keep it clean, but I won't have to have it wrapped for, or have to rewrap it every day because it's secure. The foot is in better shape than it has been in terms of it's kind of contained, but I still don't want a bunch of crud in there. It's not like sealed up yet, as I described. Oh, maybe I was describing to someone in person, but I think maybe I described the other day on here. So, if anyone has great ideas, my current idea is a wool sock, and then I have that lily pad that I know I mentioned at one point that supports the frog. Wool sock with lily pad, vet wrap, and then duct tape. But I'll put the wool sock up over a splint boot and tape it to the splint boot, like so there's enough pressure to hold it up, but not so much pressure that it's constricting. Or the other thought was put it under a splint boot, wrap the splint boot on, fold it over the top, tape it so it can't slide down. Um,
That's a
but
good one.
just something to keep, well, not even really to keep anything more out. I think what I was doing is keeping the mud out reasonably well for at least for a couple days. But what I need is I've been wrapping it with a diaper, but the diaper, as soon as it gets wet, you have about a day, if that, to get it out of there because it kind of tears and breaks down. So
And
And
a
then I
wool
got all the
sock
silica or whatever that's in those diapers that kinda gets in the foot. I don't really care for that.
and the wool sock won't get too wet?
Well, I'm not concerned with it being wet as long as it's not, like, getting mud and whatnot
Ah,
in there,
I
right?
see.
Like, it's not ideal, but I think the foot can handle being wet as long as it's just not caked with mud.
Sure,
So
sure.
it's just buying me a day to not have to rewrap it every day because that diaper, as soon as it gets wet, kind of will
Just
fall apart.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And just the moisture from snow or whatever on the top is gonna seep the diaper's gonna basically pull that in more than I think even like a sock might. It'll stay wet at the surface, but the whatever absorbent material in the diaper probably draw it in. Anyway.
Hmm, that's a good idea. You're the one to be super creative about those.
Anyway, the reason I mention it is because that's that was not of a thought. I mean, I knew I'd have to deal with it, but I hadn't really thought ahead to exactly what I was gonna do, and now the snow is here.
Uh-huh.
Good. So now I have to, like, come up with a plan on the fly.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Well, we have to say good morning, happy Thanksgiving to Corey and Susan. Both of these girls have been helping me with my deal. So,
Susan's Thanksgiving is over. Don't
oh
have to
yeah,
say
yeah.
happy
Never mind.
Thanksgiving to her.
Never
I already
mind.
did
Just
that. I already did that.
that's right. We used to even
Happy
after.
normal old Thursday, Canadians.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is to say happy 3 weeks till
Mm,
winter solstice. So
it's
that's
kinda crazy that it is that quick already.
I know it. Oh man. The hardest part, I was thinking, I always forget, like, just because we are out of town, which you don't really notice until it's so dark and you really just don't want to drive in the dark.
Mhm.
I don't, in the dark and the rain, and fog. It's been super foggy a little bit, more so, I would say, around here. It was kind of fun because, I was in the barn last night and pretty soon you're like, oh, the clouds are in here. And you just kind of feel like you have sort of wool over your eyes, you know? Um, so anyway, it feels a little bit like you end up on an island and can only just get out just briefly, So um that's
Yeah.
really the biggest restrictive thing. And even though I try to be home at a reasonable hour all through the year, but it does there's a stress because you really can't wait an extra 5 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever. It really gets a little sketchy. We've had a lot of accidents around here lately, so heart goes out to everybody that's been affected by those because there have been a bunch. It's hard when you can't see. Like it's a rough deal. And anyway, so I'm looking forward to winter solstice as well, but it's been nice to have some time to think and just let things float. So cool. It's nice to have some creative thoughts again. And Michael, I'm coming out of my
Yeah, well, good deal. You have seemed a little bit more excited about sharing
yeah,
and
yeah,
creating.
yeah. So I did that didn't last too
I don't
long.
know, but it seems like kind of two things, like the wanting to share and the excitement of that, and then you're exploring. So hopefully the exploring continues in the midst of wanting to share.
Yeah.
Just over here.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think so. I think so. It's just like I was mentioning to you, it's crazy how much time has gone by. Which sounds dumb to say, but I mean it really is something to ponder. Like you saw that old video and it's like, holy smokes. And yet, like kind of on the same pursuit. Well, not kind of, but like on the same pursuit with essentially the same routines and essentially the same friends. It's like the horses have changed. You guys have that where you have horses in your past where you're like, I mean, obviously we miss our horses, but I don't know. It's so odd to have put so much time and energy, and maybe it's just a little bit different than a dog, or at least any of the ways that I have dogs, to have so many activities that are also wrapped up in learning. Like I don't know, you could go hiking, like I would just go hiking with a dog, or they would be around in my office or something like that. But in terms of like the interactive partnership that I have with my horse, people obviously have it if they do competitions with their dogs, like herding or agility or something like that. You have to learn that process. But anyway, it was kind of fun. You guys have been looking through some of the old videos. Did I send you my dad's?
Mm.
We're gonna watch that today. So my dad, years ago, 11 years ago or something, his Pirelli level 1 audition with Lil. Oh my gosh. So I have it, on YouTube. And it's like something we did as a family Christmas Day, up in the or New Year's Day up in the coverall.
That's fun.
Uh-huh, it was fun. It was fun. So, I guess Lil's mane was dark, still black. It's like, or dark gray. Like, oh my gosh. What horse can you put your finger on from your past that, you know, maybe is similar to like Lil?
Um, I don't think I appreciated her at the time like you might have appreciated Lil, but um, certainly a horse that had me begin to search myself, probably more than search for a program or anything. Was a horse Willow, who now is in California. If she's still alive, she'd be pretty old right now. I haven't checked in with them recently, but kind of the type of horse that now at this stage would not be uh, challenging for me one bit. But at that point, and even now, is the sort of horse that's it's the kind of horse that you can't just say, "No, come on, let's do this." It takes a little bit more psychology, and with her, not that much more than other horse. She wasn't a real one that would kind of there's some who are just like, my dignity is too great. You will not tell me what to do. We will do this together. Um, and in- like kind of evoking some motivation from them, evoking some excitement for activity that they maybe wouldn't invest themselves without some level of partnership and cooperation and it being worthwhile and interesting to them. So Willow was along those lines, not near as extreme as some horses in that kind of bent, but enough that it was very challenging for me at the time. And so I had to search through a lot of that. And then I picked up Degamo, was going to pick up another horse, and someone was there interested in Willow. So Willow went that way. As at the time, I don't know. Frankly, I wasn't having a lot of fun with it. Um, but then the horse I was gonna buy or be given right as I left was lame, so I I left with just a Gamo, which was fine at the time because life got in the way of my spending a lot of time with my horses, the season right after that. But Willow, again, is probably more me searching within myself than looking for or finding the next step on the um I don't know. We're just talking about skills and tasks and the interplay between that and quality and that and relationship and that and all these other elements. And at that point, I wasn't dissatisfied with the skills I was working toward. I was probably a little bit stuck on account of the limited knowledge I had in terms of mechanics and all of that, or feel, or like probably a lot of things lacking at that point. But the one that I guess even then really stood out to me was the inside of me and gaining a little bit more poise and self-control and lack of selfishness and lack of drivenness that took me, or continues to take me, years and years and years. But I think that was the first time it was really apparent, um, was with Willow. So
Hmm.
pretty different than your nostalgia for Lil, but nonetheless, that would be one that really stands out.
Yeah, you know what I remember? I don't remember meeting Willow, but I do remember our conversations about Willow.
Mhm.
And I think what's wild to me is how many memories, if you just stop just briefly to think, some are very obscured, you know, but others are crystal clear. Like just random things. Like I remember where I was looking in the newspaper at the classifieds to find Lil. OTTB, 30 days professional training, phone number. Gray, Philly, phone number. The newspaper.
That's wild. I'm trying to think where.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's just so crazy to think of those. It's fun. I mean, it's fun to think about that thread, but then there's other times like I had totally forgotten about that day, with dad and Kip and all that. So still can't believe it's been 20 years since I went to Ocala for, to spend 6 weeks at the Pearly Center. Uh, and yet, there's a lot of shit that's happened since then.
It is crazy.
It's like, wow, how did so much time go by? It's been fun time. But anyway, um, definitely interesting to think back to. I also, what I think that's so interesting about pondering the relationship between like Lil, let's just say, and me, it was much more difficult partnership than me and Nigel and me.
Also,
I just we didn't get along that well. She was quite a bit more annoyed when I was wrong about things. Of course, her breed was different, so she was hotter. Um, but it took us a while. I remember I've told this story before, but I remember having to picture her as a baby horse at times because I was so frustrated, and she just seemed so sour at times, and then I would just be like imagining her as like a month old full and imagining how cute she would have been and how fun. And it's like that same creature is there, you know and so but just the excitement of looking through those horses um and anyway, the it really becomes, I don't know. I want to say, I don't know how to put my finger on. Maybe you can help me. Like, there's some sort of more adult partnership with a horse than, this is just my experience, obviously, than with a dog. Because again, my dogs and cats are like buffers for, they are little therapy fuzzballs, and hopefully I'm their friend too, but there's just so much more of, not more in terms of value, but more in terms of,
Complexity.
yeah, because there's that element of education and pushing you to grow and pushing you to be something different, whereas I'm pretty sure my dogs would just love me no matter what. And if I remained dumb, they would be fine with that. So long as, they're taken care of. But it's like, until I grew into something more, then
Mhm.
it wasn't really going to be a lovey relationship.
Yeah,
And then extraordinary to what it can become.
yeah. I suppose that's a little different if you have a dog that is, I mean, obviously, like you said, if the dog has a job or you're learning something as your dog, but also if there's this self adjustment to a dog that you now have in your care that is more extreme personality. Like Sadie is one thing, um, and I've had other shy dogs, but it's kind of, I don't know. She was an adjustment, but I'm thinking of, I think we mentioned before, Julie's daughter's dog was a sled dog that would like is kind of wired a little bit off, it seems, but learning to adjust to a dog, and they're not just a lap dog that, oh, everybody can come say hi and it's pretty straightforward and easy, but to nurture them, shape them, build their confidence, train in a way that works for them, not try to just squash them and be domineering because they will just shrink into the carpet. I think that sort of, there's a learning there that's not just you and the horse learning together, you and the dog learning together some activity. It is also that kind of like, okay, I have to I have to learn something else in order to, like you say with the horses, I have to be different, I have to be smarter, I have to have skill that I don't currently have for this relationship to move forward from where it is.
Right. That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That.
And frankly, my dogs, both of them being pretty timid, my kids, my horses, all kind of teaching me the same thing, pointing me in the same direction. And I'm a slow study. But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that is the, you're right about those dogs. I just don't have those dogs
mhm,
purposefully, just because my skill level. And anyway, but yeah, having to have some skills and growth and all of that just to have the affection. Perhaps that is a huge part of what I'm talking about with, why Lil was such a huge deal, is because that affection, that affinity that had to, you know. Corey says you guys are both talking about the value of changing emotionally, which is more challenging. Oh, these are, unfortunately, this is disappearing again.
which the more challenging partners push us to do.
Right, right. Yeah. But don't you think though, Corey, it's, yes, we have to change emotionally for sure. But like with Lil, I had to learn skills, like technical skills. I mean, I had to learn a lot about horses too that I didn't know. But I mean, when I got Lil, I didn't know about a one rein stop. I didn't like think about how basic that is.
Yeah.
I put a martingale on her until I met Hans, which thank God I met him like really, really early. And he's like, get rid of that. Um, but anyway, I had to learn. Of course, it had me growing emotionally, but there was a lot of technical things I didn't know. Technical learning. Can you read it, Michael?
Corey said, yes, I agree that the technical learning and growth are the big values too.
Yeah, and required. I guess
Hmm.
that's the part that is anyway. It's just interesting to think of those two going together is pretty interesting to me. So anyway, I this time of year, I guess this time of year always sticks in my mind really a lot. Just, I suppose, because it's always kind of an inward, insular time, park at home a little bit more. The contemplative darkness, there's kind of being by yourself and up in the arena or whatever in the fog and the bad weather. It sticks in my mind. The memories string together, which I suppose they do every time of year, but this is kind of a lot. There's a lot, I guess, just because it has always been a lot of alone time. Perhaps just by nature because there's like a lot less horse stuff going on. Certainly a lot fewer gatherings. So yeah. Oh my god. You want to hear a funny story? Did I tell you about the story of or I had got together with a few friends on Saturday? Oh my god. So we're all showing up like at the same time, kind of our last like gathering for the year. And the neighbors, like right as we're unloading, I saddled Rook, and she just takes this deep right as I was cinching her up, she takes this deep breath and her head's up and I'm like looking over these three guys get out of their truck with their three leaf blowers and two garbage cans each because they were going to take care of all the leaves on the neighbor's property, couple acres worth of oak leaves. So we couldn't even hear ourselves talk. The horses were just like, you must be joking me. Because it's foggy. You have dudes holding garbage cans over their head. You have the leaf blower it's they're just like, oh, what do you have to do but just chuckle, right? And in the end it was good for us. But it's just one of those things you're like, no way.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, kind of like when the helicopter came down over the buck clinic all those years ago in Pasadena. I don't think you were there, but these poor people in class and all of us because they were right by some.
Hospital, maybe?
No, it was an air base. I don't know why I'm blanking. Uh, anyway, yeah. So this helicopter's like to the side. Anyway, the things you can't predict, but are just like, oh no way.
Yeah.
So anyway, kind of funny. Then Rook hung in there, but she was just like, "For real?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." So anyway, those kinds of things in the spooky weather. Oh, Kip and I finished our show. That was one of the best shows ever.
What was it again?
From from so you have to have MGM Plus on Amazon, but it's totally worth it. Just pay for it or buy the series. I mean, totally worth it if you compare like going to a movie to 3 seasons of a story. But anyway, it's set in a town that I looked it up. It's in Nova Scotia. Um and just kind of very spooky, very foggy, very so it was perfect. I left to go do the horses every night. I'm like, well, if I don't come back in an hour, you know, Don't come find me, because there's monsters in this show. Like, anyway, this is kind of a spooky time of year and valuable for sure. But I am going to be going a little bit nuts pretty soon. Probably everyone is just because of the darkness. I was asking Susan how dark it, because how short of a day does it get for you guys? Because I think we end up just under 8 hours, 7 hours and 45 minutes here, maybe.
I don't remember.
I mean, really, what can you get done in 7 hours? Not much. So
No.
you guys must have less, I would think. And then Susan has even less than us, I think. She must. So anyway, and then thinking about the year coming up fast, because I'm looking towards the Horsemanship Challenge. If any of you guys are listening and are interested in the Horsemanship Challenge, go to northwoodfarms.com, click on the challenge, and you'll hear all about it. But I mean, it's really coming up. So I need to get that organized and ready. Um, and then around here we'll have everybody will be getting their Mustangs, of which I am not doing this year, even though I am technically signed up for it because the fall one got postponed. But I'm not going to do one because I already have mine. And um, then the year will be rolling. I'll be at your place, and the year will be rolling again. So it doesn't it feel just like a little bit of a dramatic pause
A break.
in the whole flow, but it's not going to last long. And it's so funny too, because Kip's on vacation this week, so we've had like I'm some of my normal things, but has been pretty slow. So Monday, when I'm sending you guys the first version of this, I'm like, what the hell? Why is everyone so slow? So I guess you got it on Monday, and then a couple days later, and people are like, "Oh, check it out on the weekend." I'm like, the weekend? What is it that you're doing that is taking you so long?
It's a week off, people.
I know. Oh my gosh. So anyway, and you think of all the years we've started off with the challenge, and then pretty soon it just goes by so fast. Then I'll start bugging everyone for their goals for next year, so be prepared for that. Loose goals. I'm helping with this. Just wait till you see. I can help with the loose goals. So the bonus items, Michael, did you look at those at all?
Um, no.
Okay, yeah. So I added a bunch of bonus items at the bottom. Oh, did you print it out? Good for you.
I
But
did.
I sent it this morning though. So did you print it out this morning?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Anyway, Susan, who of course has the capability, she's like, I'm the one who would do all of it. I'm like, well, yeah. But like I said, I didn't want anyone to get hung up. But those are kind of fun things, you know. He's looking. Don't worry, you guys. I really need to connect with Julie. Oh, I think. But uh anyway, I'm sometimes with an idea, I was talking to Corey about it. It's like I have these ideas, I sort of execute them, and then that's enough for me, or I get the stage fright, or I get a little gollumish out of it. But I kind of think this is a good thing. Like I said, I need to take an Elon pill for the idea that open source is good. And Kip's like, it's hieroglyphics anyway. What good is it? Yeah, it was interesting to hear Mike Grace's thoughts yesterday. Kind of cool.
What did he have to say?
Not a ton, just like everyone wants to know, like, well, are you giving this out? Is it going to be couched in Horsemanship Insider? Like, what is it? It's a bit of a program, you guys. So, but one of the questions that I have for you guys is, and this is what I think. I think each section should be with one horse. Yeah, Julie, I have to send you some documents though, is the only thing. And you have to agree to confidentiality. for now. They, sometimes that's the hardest part for people. They're like, no, I can't. Um, but don't you think, Michael? And I think it doesn't have to be maybe in one running. Anyway, I think that each section could be with a different horse. Do you think? I wouldn't want people to get hung up if they had a baby horse or something and wanted to. I don't know. And then I really do think I'm going to do some certificates or something for fun. And I need you guys to all test it. Like get serious and test it and then we can give feedback. And everyone seems to agree that the downside is real and yet um not good enough to override the overall value. The pros outweigh the con. So we're going to find out, right? But can't we, like, if we decide in a month or 2 months or whatever, like this is a terrible idea, can't we just
I
be like,
think I think the other thing is there's getting hung up, and we should talk about this off the show, but I'll just say it here. There's getting hung up,
no watching,
and
it's
there's
fine.
also getting ahead of yourself. I want to do the next thing, but I don't have the skill or quality in terms of the core communication
Mhm,
to do the next thing. And then the next thing just the sloppy factor gets a little out of hand because you're trying to eke it out
mhm,
because you don't want to go back to the beginning. So that's another, beginning. That's another thing to consider.
mhm, mhm. And one of the things that I was thinking about yesterday is the you're right about that. On the other hand, it's like just for instance, pushing yourself to video it, even if you're eking it out, that's at least going to get you somewhere. And then so long as you're not accepting that as your forever result, it still gets you somewhere. Now, if you for instance, if you do an item so sloppily or so badly that then you can't do something from a month ago with any kind of quality, but shouldn't a person be able to figure that out? Eventually, like I'm just thinking I would have
I
because
guess it's still just a question of um, attaching qualities to all of it, and yet not having it be the process be discounted or
hmm
make one impatient with the process either, because the quality oftentimes only comes through repeats in time and
that's
the the,
yeah, and so two things about that. I was thinking that the cool thing that I hadn't thought about before I wrote it out is that it I really like how it came out and what's on there just because I think it provokes good questions, you know? And that's important. That's important for a person to think for themselves. Like, what is this? Or how does this fit together? Or how do I get from here to here? I mean, some of it should be obvious, but other things should provoke questions, have already with the people that I've given it out to. Like, what's this? What's that? But not so much that you can't recognize anything on there, or people like Lisa. She's like, I pretty much recognize everything on here, so I know what it all is. Doesn't mean I can do everything with my current horses. But the other thing too, Michael, is I think that we're ultimately, and you guys tell me if you agree, the culture that you're in, no matter what you're studying, what you're pursuing, I mean, you can't discount that. I don't think you can evaluate any kind of a process. Well, your culture that you're in, the people that you're around are going to help you in what you value. And so, for instance, if it's the process and the fun of it, because
Mhm.
to a person that came through with me, all those years ago, except for you, um, is like just can't stop talking about the fun of it. And like Lisa and I were talking about all the pony parties 18 years ago. I think she said we had our first one in 2008. It was Kip and her husband Jim and me and Beth, I think. That's where it started. And so, point being, that wasn't a competition. A pony party was not a competition of any kind or show off what you can do. I don't remember that at all. And I think Lisa would back me up on this. It was just like screwing around, having fun, and whatever. We were just doing things together. We had something to do, but it was never about the competition. But you could be around people who were competitive and showing off and trying to, one up the other person, or the value was how good am I compared to somebody else. But if you think about the culture that, well, I would just say the way that I came through, that it was pretty seriously emphasized not to compare yourself. Steal good ideas, that was always allowed and encouraged, you know, right? You remember that? Like, or take advantage of somebody else's good idea and build on it, but don't compare and create value out of a comparison. And that was way before social media, or at the dawn of social media. Some of it was before, quite honestly. And so that's another interesting thing, is wouldn't it be cool if we could it like hold on to that and bring it forward? The pre-social media, idea of all of that. And then back to Lil, is I think that as our relationship grew, that became a reinforcement in and of itself, which I know a lot of you guys talk about that. That's why I hang out with you. But it's like that relationship, that partnership is the most important thing. I mean, if it wasn't, why wouldn't we do something safer? I mean, physically safer. Like, Kip's super into golf, and there's a whole culture that has grown, like exponentially since COVID. So over the last 5 years, like the golf culture, especially among the younger people, has seriously exploded. And they're so much like equestrians. Like there's a lot of they love being outside, it takes a lot of time. Um, there's all different skill levels, and everyone's trying to get a little better, and it's accessible but super hard. It's like, and they have their own little microcosm about, they can bring their friends along, no problem. But I'm like, yeah, but you guys are so much more physically safe than we. Our sport is super dangerous. So anyway, why, if it didn't have to do with the partnership with the animal, why would we put ourselves in such a pickle? Really and truly. So, how about that song I sent you?
So, oh man,
Oh,
insane.
Kip says it's a year old. Um,
Yeah, I was looking at that too. How have I not?
I know. You guys look it up. What was it? It was, if you type in "Stand by Me paint room
Yeah, I
paints."
think so. I don't know. I just listened to it. I haven't looked up much except to see that it was not a new song.
I posted it on my Instagram story. You guys can, but then I looked it up. It's on Spotify and all that. Yeah, a year old. And Kip's like, "Oh yeah, I've seen that." I'm like, "Well, thanks for sending it to me because I had never seen it." So anyway, the that bass note that he plays on the guitar, the feeling of that, like I said, you can AI can suck it when it comes to trying to compete with that. I mean, just no way. Impossible.
Yeah.
I wish I could pull it up just real quick. That's sad. Um anyway, hit me up you guys if you here, uh, I'll pull it up really really fast. I put it on my first um song on the 2026 Horsemanship playlist. It's called Stand By Me. Well, actually, it's called, yeah, Stand By Me live at the print shop.
Print shop.
And I wouldn't listen to the cut version personally, because there's a cut in version that cuts right to that first bass note. And I'm like, oh, that's so sad because the 15 seconds ahead of it and the suspense that builds to it, because you can read the title of the song, and then you're just like, it blows your head back a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah. So I don't know that the artistic part of something, and when it just comes out of people, it's just crazy. And I think horsemanship is interesting because some of it is natural, right? From inside of us, certainly from the horse it is. But some of it we have to work to access. We should talk to an artist that is like, yeah, I kind of always felt that. Because sometimes you watch someone, you're like, nah, I think maybe that was always in them to hear the music like that. Anyway, we'll see. Okay. Well, we went way longer than we thought for the Thanksgiving show.
yeah.
Anything? What are you doing Thanksgiving at home?
Yeah. So I was just a bit ago gonna say I have to go help get ready for 42 people to be at our house, so I should probably run. I have Emily's whole family and uh, family friends of her family. Um, yeah.
That's like a
So
wedding.
yeah, it's a lot of people.
I thought maybe you were high stairs doing the show so you could have a little break.
Well, that's not gonna go. That yes, we could go on if it were me, but yeah, I should probably help a little bit. So
I hear you. Yeah, Kip and I are gonna get to making a few things, and we'll head to Portland. So, anyway, it'll be fun. So we hope you guys all have a great Thanksgiving, and I'll say for you and I both, we're very grateful for everybody that is in our little microcosm here. It's pretty fun. And Michael and I will see you first week in December.
oh boy,
Happy American Thanksgiving, friends. Susan says yes. Thank you very much. Yep. So Michael and I will see you next Thursday morning, as always, at 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
8:30 Central.
Bye,
Happy
everybody.
Thanksgiving.
Bye.
Bye.